I always try to figure out why my book sells so well here. And I think it's because, I hope something we share is the heart. But really my job is I want you to take this book to bed. It's 10 o'clock at night. You're going to read for 15 minutes. Next thing you know, it's 4 in the morning.
He sold more books than most of your favourite authors combined, 70 million copies translated into more than 40 languages. The award-winning author is adored here in France with director Guillaume Canet adapting his thriller Tell No One for the big screen in 2006, and 2 of his books have been made into French TV series. The adaptation of his novel The Stranger will appear on Netflix later this year. Welcome to the show, Harlan Coben.
Thanks, nice to be here.
No, it's a pleasure to have you. You're in France as your 31st book. Yeah. Runaway has just been translated into French. Now, it's one of 14 of your works that Netflix is working on to put on TV. Tell us about the story.
Well, Runaway opens, I was in Central Park in New York City, and I was watching a street musician mangle a song, and I thought, what if that was my daughter? What if that was my daughter who's been missing for 6 months? And that's how The Stranger opens, right on page 1. And when he goes to find his daughter, bring his daughter home, this whole world explodes, and it involves cults, and it involves those new DNA websites that tell us our genealogy, and all those sort of things all mixed into, hopefully, a suspenseful package.
Now, I just want to look at one of your publicity photos now for the French book that you posted on Twitter. It features a very important creature in your life, your dog, Laszlo. Now, has this had a big effect on sales?
Yes, I think it's been tremendous, yeah. I can't believe they got me to pose like that for the Metro poster here. You know, it was one of those where it was almost like a scene from a movie, like, just move a little bit over this way. Now a little bit more this way.
You got tricked into it.
I did.
So
I made Laszlo the dog do the same. Okay.
So the dog in Runaway is called Laszlo,
yeah,
like your dog.
Yes.
The wife in the book is a paediatrician. Your wife is a paediatrician. Yeah. How much of your life is in this book, or in all your books?
It's very little. Well, yes, a lot and a little. I mean, I think writers never like to admit this, but all the lead characters in some way are based on them. But what I've learned as I've gone on is really all the characters have to have a piece of you. Even the villains have to have a piece of you. The key thing to being a writer, I think, is having empathy. You have to be able to get into all of these different skins. So, you know, you take from your real life.
So you draw on your real life, which is in northern New Jersey.
Yeah.
And places that are the fruition of the American dream.
Right.
Why these places?
Well, first of all, it's what I know, right? What you know a little bit. But also, I just think that's compelling. I don't think it's really, we call it the American dream, but I don't really think it's the American dream. I think it's sort of the world dream, you know, to get married and have a couple of kids and live in peace and harmony with some money in the bank and that kind of a thing. But once a dream comes true, of course, that's when it can turn into something of a nightmare. And that's where I'm trying to play with that a lot in a lot of books.
And you're not afraid of bleak endings or of killing off characters.
No.
How do you balance that with what you think the readers want?
Well, I don't really I don't mean this to sound the way it's going to sound, but I don't really care what the readers want. I mean, it's my job to tell the readers kind of what they want. And some books will end happily. And then I'm always finding that I react. So if you read a couple of mine and they end sort of happily, you can count on the next one ending much more tragically. I think Runaway might be my most twisted ending. I mean, that's what people have told me. It's hard for me necessarily to judge, but it's been, I've loved the reaction to the ending. It's one I hope that stays with you.
And you are a bit of a rock star author, especially here in France, where they absolutely love you. This week, you were at Paris's Olympia to meet the fans. Yeah. We had a chat with some of them. Let's have a listen.
Oh.
They're thrillers, but with a family aspect.
You have this double thing. You have both the culture and what's happening in a comment, and on the other hand, you have a very good story.
The characters are all very authentic.
Once you've opened the book, you can only put it down when you see the words, the end.
How do you explain this love
that
the
really
French
flattering.
have for you?
I just think they're more intelligent, I guess. I don't know. You know, it's what I'm told is, and it sounds weird to talk about. I always find stuff like this hard to talk about. But what they usually tell me at these things is that it's the heart that matters to them. It's easier for me to stir a pulse or to stir your mind. But if you don't care about the characters, if you don't really want to worry about them, then it doesn't work. And the French seem to like that or appreciate. I don't really know. I'm just thrilled. I'm thrilled they like me. Why do they like Jerry Lewis? I don't know, but I'm thrilled, really thrilled.
And your next book, The Boy from the Woods, will be out in French early next year.
Yeah.
It centres on a man whose past is shrouded in mystery. You're writing so many books. You've even compared it to sort of pregnancy.
Yeah, well, one a year to take 9 months. Right?
What keeps you going?
Those clips you just showed, I really love. First of all, I don't do anything else. I have no other marketable skills. I'm not good at anything else. I'm disorganized. I'm forgetful. I could never hold a real job. So it's all I can do, and that fear drives me to it. The second thing is it's all I have in my life in many ways, other than the normal things. Life's about balance, right? You have to exercise right and eat right and you have your relationship with family and kids. But if I'm not writing well or I'm not writing, my life gets out of balance very quickly. So I need to write a lot. It means a lot to me.
And in your first books, going back a few years now, you immersed yourself in the exploits of the sports agent Myron Bolitar. After several books, you tried something else. The result was the critically acclaimed Tell No One. It became like the runaway success of the year. Was that the moment everything changed for you?
A lot changed. Yeah, that was the breakout moment, if you will. It was it changed your life overnight. And you have to be careful with that. I don't know how young actors do it. I was already 39 years old. I had a family. I had 3 kids. Fourth was born the day that it hit on the list. So I was fairly stable, and it really messes with your head when you break out. So I get what happens with these young actors who get 10 times that kind of attention. You always have to be very careful. Secret for me, and I tell any writer who starts to feel like they have that moment where they're breaking out, just start writing the next one, because it's going to mess with your head.
Tell me, though, how did you deal with that balance? Because as you said, Tell No One appeared on the New York Times bestseller list the day your 4th child was born. I think the oldest one was 6 at the time.
Yeah.
That sounds like a totally crazy time.
Well, first of all, it was good to know that they'd be able to go to college and be fed. So that was sort of nice to know. But yeah, the key, I think, with any kind of creative endeavor, if you are producing stuff, is you really have to treat it like a job. So I just was, let's push this aside. This is wonderful attention, but let's try to focus on what really matters, and that's the work.
And let's talk about the big and little screen. You're working a lot now with adaptations, a film adaptation, 2 French TV series, plus the TV series The Five, Safe, and The Stranger, which is in the works.
Yeah.
And you've signed up with Netflix for 14 projects, I think.
Right.
How is that affecting your writing?
Actually, it's funny. We have The Stranger coming out first. That's an English production that we just finished filming in Manchester with Richard Armitage, Stephen Ray, Jennifer Saunders, Siobhan Finneran. It's a fantastic cast, and I've just seen it, so I'm really excited for everybody. It's 8 episodes long. The Woods is going to be out also next year. It's a Polish series that will be. What's funny is all them go to all 190 countries. They either dub them or they have subtitles so the whole world can see it, which is really sort of amazing. But it doesn't affect my writing books. In a way, it almost helps because I'm a natural introvert. So when I'm writing, I'm all alone. I spend a lot of time in my room alone. I go on set. I love it for 2 days, but then I lose my mind that I have to go in a room and write. So they're kind of feeding off each other. When I need to socialize a little bit, I can go on set. After that, I go back to my room and want to write books more.
And how involved are you then in that process?
The British series, The Stranger, a lot. I was creator, executive producer, and showrunner on that one, and the one that's on the air now called Safe with Michael C. Hall. Both of those I was very heavily involved. The other foreign language shows, I'm an executive producer. I work on them almost daily, but I don't have the same involvement that I have on the other ones. And
we're coming to the end of the show. You've won the 3 big mystery awards, the Edgar, the Seamus, and the Anthony. What are your ambitions now, Harlan Coben?
I just want to keep making better and better stuff. I still at least fool myself into believing I'm getting better. And I want to find new ways of moving. I want to moving you, entertaining you, enlightening you, and keeping you up at night. That's my job.
How do you keep getting the ideas?
That's all I do, though, all day long. I sit there thinking, well, what if? And I try to see what's going on in the real world. In the case of Runaway, the first thing was when I was watching people do those DNA sites and all the shocking secrets they're finding out about their own lives, about maybe their father wasn't their father or something like that. And well, how can I tell this story? How can I relate it to what's going on today, immediately, what's going on in society? I'm writing about right now. I'm not writing about the past. So everything I do inspires me.
It's still happening. Okay, well, we end every show with our guests' cultural pick of the moment. What have you chosen for us and why?
Well, in a way, it's an old timer and it's a new timer. Bruce Springsteen's new CD, or album, whatever you call them nowadays, Western Stars, is unbelievable. It's the best work he's done in years, and I'm a huge Springsteen fan, New Jersey guy. But the storytelling is beautiful. Here's my suggestion. Read it with the lyrics, watch it, listen to it with the lyrics in front of you, or follow them along like you used to do in the old days when we had liner notes. It's a beautiful storytelling, and I really highly recommend Western Stars, Bruce Springsteen.
Okay, well, we're going to leave you with Sundown off Bruce Springsteen's 19th studio album, Western Stars. Harlan Coben, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure to have you. And Runaway is out in French now. Remember our website, we're also on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. There's more news coming up on France 24 after this.